Welcome to the first video on our new channel. My name's Ash, and today we're going to be looking at improving Phasmophobia. So the idea behind this video is to take a look at Phasmophobia, and it's going to be my opinion on what features we could add to the game in order to improve it. So what would make you want to boot the game up and play more. Now these improvements are not fully fleshed out ideas, they're just mere thoughts and guidelines to how it could work if the developers were to implement them into the game. Now, in case you've clicked on this video and you don't know what Phasmophobia is, it's a ghost hunting game where you have to enter a location and find which ghost is haunting that location. You do this by using lots of different equipment and finding sets of evidence to prove the ghost type. At the time of recording, I have about 140 hours game time into Phasmophobia. It is a good game. If you haven't played it, it's well worth your time. Even if the last update broke the game somewhat, but I'm sure they will fix that up. So the first feature I want to talk about is one that I think would benefit new players and existing players that haven't played the game to its full potential. At the moment, we have different difficulty settings within the game. So standard difficulty, where you have to find all 3 lots of evidence, and then professional, nightmare, and custom difficulties where you need 2 evidence, 1 evidence. But as players are playing the game, they don't necessarily understand that the ghosts have unique abilities and different mechanics that allow you to identify them without requiring those pieces of evidence. So my idea is to have this kind of spider's web, starting in the middle, where you have to identify your ghost on easy difficulty with your 3 evidence. Then as you beat each challenge, you move further out of the web. As you move further out into the web, new challenges unlock, so you can select those challenges or hover over those challenges, and it will show you a bit more information about what you need. So for example, if you beat the wraith on 3 evidence, it unlocks the next step. It then will show you that a wraith cannot step in salt. Now normally this information isn't available in the game anywhere. You have to either spend many hours figuring this out yourself or start searching on Google. So I think that having this kind of progression system will keep a player coming back. It gives them something to do. It gives them challenges to try and beat each ghost having no evidence, as well as other difficulties and challenges you could put on the web. The players can clearly see what goals they have available. You could even have things that they could unlock at the end of each tree or as they're going through, so they have something to work towards. This next feature I think could benefit all players in the game, even if they've got thousands of hours. Basically, the idea is to turn the ghosts into actual people. The idea is that the player would go into the game as per normal. You would find the ghost name as you're given at the moment, go in, solve the ghost, so you find out what kind of ghost it is, and then when you come back to the lobby, you have a journal which has that ghost name in, and then it shows you a profile to do with that ghost with all kinds of information that you currently do not know. The idea is then that you could specifically select that ghost and go back to that same map where that ghost selected, only this time instead of using your equipment to find what kind of ghost it is, you already know that, but this time you have to find out all the information about them, so things like their age, how they died, what their occupation was, or if they have any kind of connection to the location, so the reason that they're still a ghost and they're haunting that house. So this could add all different kinds of gameplay mechanics, such as paranormal memories, so the ghost could reenact something that happened to them. For example, if their cause of death was they fell down the stairs, then it could show the ghost falling downstairs. You could find different objects around the house, such as newspaper clippings or old toys, pictures, diaries. And I still think the existing equipment could still be used, but just in different ways. For example, you could have a safe within the house that you can use the UV to see fingerprints that were on the safe. You could have the ghost book where the ghost writes a riddle in the book for an item that might be in the house, or a clue to say what their date of birth might be. I think this could add quite a bit of replayability to the game, because it would be interesting to find out all the different ghosts on all the different maps. The developers have already started redoing maps where they have a lot of items in the maps, and I think that those items currently don't do a lot, so it would be really good if they had a purpose. A lot of them could become personal items or clues to find out information about these ghosts, and I think it would make such a big difference to gameplay, especially if you are aware of the kind of ghost you're going into, because you would already know the ghost type going in, so you would know what to expect. So it'd be a lot different going in to try and find this information if you had a spirit compared to, say, a demon. Now, I am aware that this changes some of the fundamentals of the game, because effectively you've already found the ghost previously. However, I think it needs it. I think the game needs some kind of continuation, some kind of end game, something that can keep players busy other than grinding the events that are currently in the game. The last mode I want to talk about is basically a versus mode, 4 versus 1. The idea would be that a player plays as the ghost and is trying to eliminate all the other players, and the players are trying to find the evidence as per normal. Now, I think a way that this could be done is the ghost player has a specific amount of energy, and they can use any kind of ability that they want to use according to their ghost type. But as they use abilities, it uses up this energy, and the only way to get that energy back to use more abilities is to do the abilities that trigger the evidence response. So for example, if your ghost evidence is fingerprints and you need UV, then you have to put fingerprints onto a door or a surface, and that will give you more energy to be able to do more haunting. But obviously that also means that the players, if they're around and have a UV on them, will be able to get one of the pieces of evidence on you. So I think this could go backwards and forwards, and you could play a interesting versus mode doing this, just with the existing game mechanics.